right as I was saying Spencer out on the ow part, I realized that this is not lining up correctly. It doesn't look good. And so I spent like the next 30 minutes trying to go in and figure out how to get it to shift over, and everything I did made it look worse. And so I was reminded that this is why we have front-end designers that know what they're doing with this stuff. That is not my speciality. We work on the logic and getting the information in, and let those who know what they're doing do what they do at the front end. So we're just going to choose to ignore this, and we're going to move on. But if you know how to fix it in true YouTuber fashion, chat, if you know how to fix this, post in the comments below and tell me how to get this dumb thing shifted over so that it lines up nice. All right. Okay, well, let's get on to what we're doing. If we check these boxes, it does nothing right now, and we want it to do something. So what do? Right? This is an action that's occurring that as soon as we check that, that is something we can detect and then decide what to do once we've detected that the user has selected something. And what is it that we want to do when the user selects something, right? We want to go change our query that's getting this data to only get the data that applies to whatever project type we've selected. And so let's work on it. So in our checkboxes themselves, so if we go over here, go to our categories filter, as we're building these checkboxes, they have an option to, it's called an onChange event. So in this checkbox, sorry, where's our input? There it is. So in here, we can say onChange, here's what I want to do. So onChange equals, and we can put a function in here like we've done in the past. We can make this, an arrow function, but the problem is it's going to be many lines of code. It's not just one command we're doing. And so sometimes when we're doing, well, I guess we could do it like this where we put in the braces and have it go, but it doesn't format as pretty here. And so what we're going to do a little bit differently is just create a function that we want to do in the onChange. So I'm going to build a function here. This is not a function that's going to be exported. This is just a function for use here inside this component. And then we don't need it. We're not going to export it and use it as an outside component. It's just for us here to do what we need to do in order to do, when this checkbox is checked, to have it do what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to call this one handle checkbox change. So this is going to be handling the checkbox change. And then as, well, I'm not going to worry about what's being passed in first. Well, no, I am. Okay. So when we click this handle checkbox change, I want to know which checkbox it was that was checked. How many checkbox could a checkbox check if a checkbox could check? Okay. Target. So we put in here, I want to know what the target was. What did they click on? And then the type that I need, target, is an HTML input element. All right, so again, we're saying what we want passed into us when we call this handle checkbox change, and then we want to know what type of data it is. And I looked up why React uses this way of doing things where it needs to know both the thing and then the type of the thing after, and what I found out is that everything's passed in as an object instead of as like an integer or whatever. It's an object that contains an integer, and that's why it's broken out this way. I don't know that we need to worry about that, other than we just need to know that this is the syntax. Okay, this is the thing, and then this is the thing and the type of thing it is. Okay, so what are we going to do as part of this function? Well, what I want to do is I want to go check and see which boxes are checked, and if they already were checked, I want to uncheck them from our list. So we've got here our list of categories. This is all the categories that have been selected. It's a string array. It's going to hold which categories were selected. And so in here, I'm going to build a const called updated categories with whatever they checked. And that's going to be equal to whatever was already in selected categories. And we're going to check to see if it already includes the target that we're getting this checkbox, whatever they clicked on, dot value. So go look and see what the value is. Again, we set the value equal to whatever the the category name was. So we're saying, go out and look in selected categories and see if that already exists in there. And then we're going to do an if statement, but it's an inline if statement. We're not building it out as normal. I think you've done these before. I hope you have. But this ends up being the condition, and it's going to return a true or a false. So then we put a question mark, and we say, what do we do if it's true? If it's true, then what I want to do is, let's make sure I did that right. Okay, we did. So if it's true, then we want to go to our selected categories, and filter, which means we're going to remove, so selected categories, dot filter, and then we'll do our same little format. So we'll, and not to be confused with this C, I'll just say, give me the X lambda. If X is not equal, now again, we're going to check for the same type too, so we do two equal signs, to the target value. So we're going to go filter out anything that is not equal to the target value. Now maybe we do need to use C. Let's see if it likes C better. No, what am I doing wrong here? Selected categories. Oh, it's just called categories. Wait a second. No, okay, we got two different things going on here. All right. Hey, I'm in my mode where I don't go back and restart, so we're rolling with this thing. I was getting ahead of myself here. We have one list that contains all the categories, but we need another list that is which ones are selected. And so I missed my little note that we got to go up here and say const selected categories. And then we say set selected categories. We're going to, with that, use state. And what is it going to be? Well, it's still going to be a string array. And what is the array going to look like in the beginning? Well, it's going to be a blank array until we have something set in there. Okay, that likes that a lot better, and now we can go back, change that back to an X. Save that. So this is checking, again, const updated categories is going to be equal to, go look first in the selected categories and see if it already includes that target value. If true, then we're going to go filter out that target value. If they've already got it checked, then we're unchecking now. And so we want to get rid of it out of our list. Otherwise, so we'd use the question mark for the if true, and then after the colon is what we do if it's false. If it's false, meaning they're just checking it for the first time, I want to go break down, so spread whatever was already in selected categories, and then I want to add to that the target value. All right, so again, this is kind of a shorthand for an if statement. This part looks to see, is this true or false? Does it already include the value that they clicked on? If so, then let's go filter that out from our selected categories. And if not, then we're going to go add that value to our selected categories. And so that's our little if statement. And then once I know what the updated categories are, which will be what's in that const, then I can click on, I can say set selected categories, calling this method that we have, this function that we have to be able to update our selected categories. Go set selected categories equal, or sorry, don't set it equal to, but pass to set selected categories the updated categories. All right, so sorry, I have to keep pausing to cough. So after we've done this, we've got the updated categories. We're going to go update our component state for that selected categories to include those categories, and that way we can, it will only show, well, then we know which categories have been selected, and we can use that to go talk to the server, which we're going to do next. Spencer out.